What's going on, guys? Okay, today we're going to be talking about the new Rock Adventure event coming from Niantic for Pokemon Go. Now, this thing is going to start on May 18th, and it's going to end on the 25th. Now, I have to assume they learned from the last mistake of having a 2-day mess on their hands. That was the grass event. Also, they released the numbers showing that 590 million Magikarp over that week time were caught in comparison to, I think, the 260 in total during the grass event. So, call it what you will. Now, just out of curiosity, how many Magikarp did you guys all catch during the Water Festival? I think at my last count, because stupidly I tried to keep track, it was around 1,200. But it sure as hell felt like 10,000. But how many did you guys catch? Now, on top of it just being a rock event, which is for a week, which is cool in its own, also, your buddy Pokemon are going to have to walk half the distance to get candies. The Poke Shop is going to be 50% off Pokeballs. I don't know if it's going to be more than just Pokeballs. They said Pokeballs, so I'm hoping it's everything because I need some incubators and lucky eggs. That's what I need ASAP in case Niantic is watching. Besides that, Pokestops are going to be giving out more items. Now, they said items. I don't know if that just means Pokeballs, healing potions, revives, berries, I don't know. Everything, you know, whatever. But they did say that it's going to be a lot more items coming out of each one of the Pokestops, not just specific ones for that week-long event. So take advantage of it now while you can. And the reason I say that is because this whole situation adds a huge piece to the mysterious puzzle that is Niantic and how they're going to go about things in the future. Now, for the most part, they don't tell us much until several days before, if at all. Now, a perfect example, the shiny Magikarp. Who knew? For the most part, their mini events in the past were based around holidays or pretty much whenever the hell they felt like it. Now, with there being these 3 mini events, we'll call them, so close together, we can kind of say, okay, they found a formula, they know it works, because what was happening was they'd have a huge peak like the Halloween, and then a lull all of November, you know, and then they get a peak with Christmas event, and then a lull all through January, and then they get a little peak with that whole Valentine's Day thing. So they're realizing that instead of all these peaks and valleys, let's just kind of keep it in the middle somewhere, and that is what these mini events are doing with great success. Now, take that into account with this being a rock-type event with all those extra candies from Pokestops and, you know, Buddy Pokemon, along with the newfound coding having to do with the gym mechanics and the complete revamp system of the gym itself, and you have a huge opportunity. What I mean by that is that a lot of the rock-type Pokemon out there are going to be either a big or a bigger part of the gym system as it is, because from what we all know of, the gyms are, how do I say this, going to be a main, if not the main part of the game besides actually catching the Pokemon. Now, the gym system that we have right now is nothing more than a placeholder. They said that. If the game was rushed, flat and simple, it's a stagnant piece of crap right now that basically nobody really cares about except to get a few Pokecoins, if by any chance you can even keep a gym for more than a day. Just the way it is, especially with everything that's been going on. So the new gym mechanics do away with all that. They keep it from being stagnant. They keep the gyms fresh and constantly moving. And they create competition because that's honestly what it's supposed to be. Now, besides that, also because this is a rock event, you have a lot of opportunity to get certain Pokemon that you've just been unable to get before. You know, remember, rock type includes Golem, Rhydon, Tyranitar, you know, all their pre-evolutions, Aerodactyls, Kabutops, Omnistar. So, I mean, that's just to name a few. You know, not to mention all their lower parts. Now, they're going to be pretty much all over the place if this is anything like the water event that we had the last time. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people out there haven't been able to get any of those, especially a Tyranitar, which are rare as it is just to even get the first evolution, let alone the second evolution, which is what everybody wants. So, or even one with a good IV or a good CP. I mean, I found a few in the wild, but like one was like a 286 CP with a junk IV. So they're very, very difficult to get. Other ones, not so difficult, but even still are an Onyx. Now, if you're lucky enough to get a metal coat, you know, and you have enough candies with an Onyx, you find a good Onyx, you can make a Steelix. So keep that in mind as well. Because with all this going on having to do with the rock type, I mean, rock type encompasses a lot of top tier Pokemon. And getting ready for the next event that's coming up, which most likely will be the summer event or summer update or whatever you want to call it these days. that's coming down the pipeline, you'll be able to get ready for this a lot easier by doing that, because you'll be able to have some of the Pokemon that you're going to need in order to, you know, compete with the new gym mechanics. Because like I've said prior, if they do go by the whole one type of Pokemon or one species per gym, you know, you're going to need a lot more than just a Blissey or a Tyranitar or a Dragonite. You know, you're going to need other ones to think about, Manchomp and Golem and Aerodactyl and Rhydon. You know, you're going to need these other top tier Pokemon in order to compete in the gyms. Alright, so let's throw all that to the side for a second, and I'm going to say this even though I know it's pretty damn taboo these days and I'm going to get heat for it. But honestly, I really don't care. I think we're going to see a shiny this time and now, before everybody throws eggs at me and rotten tomatoes and onions and anything else you could possibly think of. Just hear me out, okay? And it might make a little bit more sense. Number one, this is a week-long event. This is not a 2-day event, okay? They knew that everybody was disappointed that there was no shiny Bulbasaur or anything else, you know, having to do with the grass event. Not to mention it was only 2 days. Numerous amounts of problems. This is a week-long, just like the water event was. Also, they just released the numbers having to do with how many Magikarp were caught. 590 million. Just the Magikarp. That is not including everything else. Alright, you're probably talking somewhere over 1 billion Pokemon were caught during that week's period of time. Now, the money train that is Pokemon is going to cash that check. Guarantee it. There is no way in this world they're not going to. Now, I'm sorry, it's a rock type, the new gym setup. It's time. They're going to have to release, they'll probably only release one, but I seriously think that they're going to release it. Now, what does that leave us with? That leaves us with several options having to do with what shiny they would release. Now, here's 3 options that I think there's a possibility. Number one, and I know I'm going to catch heat for this, but I'm just saying it's a very good possibility, and you really can't argue with me about that. So, the first option, Onix. And I know you're going to say turd. Okay, fine. But if you get a middle coat, you get a shiny Onix, you could get a shiny Steelix, and that's pretty cool by itself, turd or not. Now, a Steelix isn't going to be some great gym defender or attacker by any means, but it's still extremely cool to have. I mean, really kind of think about it. Alright, but again, they're not the most common in the world, they're not the most uncommon, but you're a hell of a lot more likely to see them during this event than not. So that's kind of a plus in that one. Now, the other one is kind of a worst case scenario, and the only reason I say it's a worst case scenario is because they're already rare as hell as it is to try to find with Tyranitar. Now, it's 2 pre-evolutions, just trying to get 125 total candies to get it all the way up. Hopefully you find with a good CP or an Ivy. I mean, it'll be rough. I mean, the Magikarps weren't that easy, but again, they were popping up all over the place. Lucky for me, I work right by the Jersey Shore in Atlantic City, so it's really not that difficult for me to find Magikarps any day of the week anyway. So during the water event, they were just boop, 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 everywhere. So that wasn't all that difficult, but I know a lot of people were having a hard time getting together 400 candies. I mean, that's a lot of candies if you really think about it. It's 4 times what everybody else is, a little less, but you get my point. So now, that might be the best case scenario, and it might be the worst case scenario at the same time. Now, this third option is what I believe is most likely going to happen. Okay? And it's right on. Now, people can go and say, no, there's no way. Listen, only takes 50 candies to get him. He's already a top tier Pokemon. He's already right up there in the top 3. You know, top 3, top 4 Pokemon as it is. So you have to take that into account. They're not the most common things in the world, and they're also not the most uncommon. And it only takes, like I said, 50 candies. I mean, so it's not for nothing, but bang for your buck. That is, you know, you're not really going to do much better than that. So that's what I think is going to happen. This whole thing, we have a huge opportunity here. There's a lot going on, and right around the corner is, again, the summer event. So you want to get ready for that. You're going to be able to get all the candies together. You're going to be able to get, you know, all these rock type or half rock type Pokemon that you haven't been able to get for God knows how long. So I mean, also there's other possibilities. I mean, you could get a shiny Aerodactyl, although I don't see that one happening. I wouldn't hate on it if I did. Golem, who I've said before, he's going to be one of the ones that you want to get and build up because he's going to be a top tier gym defender. Not really top tier. Let's call it the second tier, as I've said before, because I mean, come on, top tier is Dragonite, Blissey, and so on, unless they nerf them or some legendaries come out. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself on that one. You know, but there's all types. Omnistar, I mean, not the greatest. Kubatop, you know, all the different beginning Pokemon in order, all the starter Pokemon in order to get to those evolutions, because I know a lot of people don't have them. They're not the easiest things to get. So, as I've said about 100 times in this video, you have an opportunity here to be able to do something to get ready for the competitions, because especially if they start bringing out the PvP. Now, everybody keeps talking about it. When are you getting the PvP? Well, I mean, don't you want to be ready for it? Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And with this big event coming, good luck to everybody, and see you next time.